promotion. So, and I believe that's just because not enough people have seen it. So, I
Yeah.
will happily talk to people about that today.
That'd be good. That'd be good, mate. I think
Right.
obviously we'll try to drag people that are non Raven coins as well today, to try to expose them. I'm not too sure. There is a couple of new names that I haven't seen before, so hope you get to
Oh, so
enjoy.
allow me to introduce everybody. KJ over here. This is my mom.
Oh, hello, KJ. How are you?
She
Welcome.
does not have a microphone, unfortunately, so
Yeah, well,
you can
welcome.
hear and she can type.
Fantastic. No, welcome, KJ. And we've also got Dal. I haven't seen you, Dal. Probably just a little about you. Just a quick hello, and you've been involved with the Raven community. And I apologise if you haven't. Obviously, I'm just first time
No,
seeing.
no, I'm kind
I'll
of
be back.
here through Devin Outfleet. He, I think, talked to the brick guy
Yeah.
on a Twitter space last night, and he and I are co-founders of Community DAO.
Oh, fantastic. Well, welcome.
Cool. Welcome.
Hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, and he said he was gonna, I don't know, he was gonna make a, kind of give a little thing about Community DAO here around this time or something.
Yeah, so today is just, basically today, just I call it the 5-minute elevator pitch. I called it a slow lift. LSJ called it a tall building. So whichever you want to take in terms of that elevator pitch to be, it's 5 minutes. You can talk about the 1 minute again. We're just trying to demonstrate in terms of how diverse the Ravencoin chain is today, by having people from different spaces, as far as whether it be property tokenization, NFTs. We've also got movies, we've got music involved with our chain. We've got water rights, and I'm not too sure whether that person was able to make it or not, but just to showcase the diversity of the chain. Sometimes people sort of tend to think that the Ravencoin chain is just NFTs and a crypto coin. We're much more than that, and obviously we continue to grow and diverse across other areas in terms, out there. So again, today is again, have a bit of fun. Also be able to demonstrate how diverse we are, and we continue to be diverse. And I think we've had a fantastic last couple of weeks. Some key people obviously who have founded the Ravencoin chain, who are able to speak and provide those seeds. So without actually telling, but providing those seeds, so we can then take those seeds and nurture those seeds. People like Tron Black, for example, who was kind enough over the last couple of weeks to provide his thoughts of how the chain started and the things that are obviously happening now, as to what the intentions were when the chain was created. So it was great to have his thoughts. Something we've got to be very careful. One of our big point of difference as a chain, we're decentralized. We're very decentralized compared to other chains. And the guys obviously who founded, like Patrick Burns, and we got Bruce Fenton, obviously Tron Black. Those guys who are founders right from the beginning and continue to obviously with the Raven Foundation. They've also got to be very careful not to compromise the decentralization of our chain. We did have them talk, but as I said, we just got to be very careful not to put it out there to other people, that we're trying to attract to our chain, to make it that these guys are basically being directive in terms of the chain. They're there to provide seeds, but not to nurture the seeds. It's up to us to nurture those seeds. But yeah, look, I hope everyone has fun today. We'll do a bit of, like I said, a 5-minute elevator pitch on each project. Then SOS is here. It's great to see SOS. He's an NFT artist, as we all know. He'll be performing some of his fantastic music on stage afterwards, and there's some boat races. We've got the global world champion boat races on Braveland, who's after challenges, Xander. So at the end, if you want to take him on, he's up for it. If you want to take his title. But look, probably I just got a list of people here that I thought would probably set the tone in terms of the 5 million elevator pitch, and probably we start. Probably just open it up before we start the projects. Anybody else want to sort of say anything before we sort of formally start the 5 million elevator pitch? I probably should introduce myself first for those ones that don't know me. So I'm Brick. My real name's Luis Miguel Alexo. Obviously, last we got the Australian tokenized property, so the Brick tokens, and at the moment we've got the Brick Koala tokens. So that's a bit about who I am. So for those of you who don't know who I am, but I'll let people start first in terms of telling about their project. Raven Beats. Do you want to start from the music perspective, telling us a bit about your project and that 5 minute?
Yeah, 100%.
I know you've been working hard on that 5 minute elevator pitch, mate.
Yeah. I just need someone to say start, and I'm good to go. Then I know where my time starts off.
I'll give you a hint where you're at.
All right. Okay, so obviously everybody knows I've been working on Raven Beats, and it's Raven Beats is a dedicated NFT music station that will broadcast a wide range of and different languages and all that stuff, depending on everybody's music types, because obviously NFTs are worldwide. Basically the whole thing would be with the purpose to actually connect music artists to their fans in a sense. So we are actually creating a central location for NFT musicians, much like painters would have a gallery and all that stuff. This would be a music gallery that will be just dedicated to musicians, and it will be a platform where you will be able to share your content with the world in the same way you would share it on Twitter and spaces like that. So our platform is dedicated to allow artists the ability to cross-platform sell without hassle of where to mint it, etc. So you will be able to mint your music up on RVNFT or Ravencoin or Ethereum or Cardano or ADA or anything like that, and all it basically takes is a dedicated link where you would be selling your NFT, where your music is actually sold, and that will actually be linked into the buy now button on our platform of your song, so that listeners will be able to actually click on your song, be directed to it, and it will sell off. After it sells, the platform that you sold will obviously give you an indication that it's been sold, and everybody would say congratulations to it. You then go back onto your RVN platform, and it's dedicated, and it's up to the artist to actually say it's been sold or it's open. So we are still also integrating multiple aspects and phases, so that we will be able to be a radio station presenting, but as well as a streaming station, and with the attachment of social interaction between listeners, so the artists and listeners will be able to chat to the artists. And then on a bit further end, a bit bigger scope, is we are busy creating a solo concert platform which would allow artists to actually host events in a VR headset space, and allocate that so that you'll be able to actually sell NFT tickets, or you'll be able to just log tickets, and with every ticket that gets sold, you'll get an access code, and if you enter the space where the event's going to be, you would get a pop-up message asking you for your access code into the space. Or you can click on the link and it will basically direct you to where you can buy it, and you can be in the event itself. So that's where we're currently at, and if there's any questions, please. And was that under 5 minutes?
You done good? You done good, everybody? You done good.
Yeah, I tried. I got it all written down with little keywords.
I know.
Like you did in school.
I'm going to put you on the spot, and I know the answer, but I'll probably for everybody's benefit.
Oh, yeah.
Timeline-wise, what sort of time are you looking at in terms of officially launching?
Okay, so we were actually looking at launching at the end of March. Unfortunately, there has been a bit of a hiccup with regards to creating the actual platform on the WordPress document site, and I was so glad that I found out about that now, because the WordPress unfortunately is extremely slow, and it doesn't hold the amount of traffic that I was needed. So we can create the entire site, just to find out that we need to put everything over to PHP server hosting. So I am in development with that, and I'm extremely sorry, but it's just going to take some time to get that up, to actually get it on the PHP. So we're launching currently, as of yet, obviously end of March is not a target right now because of the entire integration to PHP. So we are looking for about 2 to 3 months from now.
Fantastic. That's good. It's one of those things. Fantastic. It's one of those things that with all we always like to have a timeline between, obviously we're all very new, and there's always some delays that always frustrate you, right?
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, I'll speak to my developers and with regards to tomorrow, and then I'll be able to provide a specific time or an end date where we will be able to put our launch date in. It would be able to be, it can be earlier than that. If it is earlier than that, then we'll be able to announce. But as far as what I can see right now, they actually gave me the timeline for 4 months. But yes, I have been pulling some strings to be able to get that done in a shorter space time. And as soon as I'll be able to do that, I'll be able to announce the official date. But for now, it's 4 months from now, which is the end of July. The reason I would rather, instead of just launching something right now and wait for the actual PHP server, is anybody that uses the platform to be satisfied with the platform, because I don't want to use anybody jumping on immediately.
Fantastic. That's great. That's great, Darren Beats. Really excited to see when you do launch, and in the meantime, obviously, you'll just keep feeding information, your progress. In the meantime, and looking forward to that. But we'll just take a pause. Just some new people have joined us and we'll probably just leave the questions till the end, so we can get through everybody, and then we'll open up for questions to ask everybody that's gone through their projects. But probably just seen some new, just some people that we've got Haley Johnson. She just joined us. Welcome, Haley. Philly's told us a lot about you in terms of movie project, and hopefully we'll get to hear you soon too about your project. Also got Justin Santos. Welcome. Great to join us, and I know you're hiding at the back there, but I can see you. So welcome to today. INXS, I see INXS join us as well. Hello, INXS. Hope you're well. Just seeing who else has just joined us. So anyway, if I missed somebody, apologise, and welcome today. I won't be nasty and put Haley on the spot straight away. We'll probably leave you so you can get a feel of the flow of what's going on. So we'll come back to you later a bit after a few more 5-minute elevated pitches. We got Morgan from an NFT artist perspective. Morgan, you want to just tell us about what you're currently doing and your project and what the plans are from your perspective? Are you good, Morgan? Are you good to go?
Having problems, you can't hear people.
Oh, okay. Oh, we'll come back to you. Morgan. Indy, I'll put you on the spot. Tell us about what's happening at the moment, and what are some of the things coming up, you as an NFT artist?
At the moment, I'm working on just a few more pieces. They're bird related, is all I'm going to say. Just from pictures again from our family days out and things. And also, I've got a couple of commissions that I'm going to do for a few people as well, so I'm quite excited about that.
Oh, fantastic. Looking forward to it. And in terms of your projects, Indy, are you doing both on Ravenist and NFT, RV NFT art? Are you doing on both, or just focus on one particular one at this stage? Or?
To be honest, I'm not too sure at the moment. I'm a little bit undecided as regards Raven NFT. Possibly, I might still use that. I'm not too sure yet.
Yeah. Well, you'll let us know, won't you? Okay. Just moving along. I'm just going through my list here, so making sure we don't miss anybody. SOS. Do you want to tell us in terms of what's happening from your side as a NFT music artist? Do you want to just give us an update what's happening with your project and some of the things that it's coming up?
Yeah, sure. Let's see. So I'm going to definitely talk a little bit more during the in between of the songs. So I'll save it for there. But say I've been into cover songs lately. The goal in terms of a project, there's nothing in terms of like a definite plan outside of 100 songs. I'm going to not necessarily write and record 100 songs, but record 100 songs. most of them will probably be covers. I would expect like an 80-20 ratio. As normal, they're going to be spread all the freaking heck all over the place. Meaning, right now I'm working on 3 different bands, and by the end of it, I expect about 10 different bands. So yeah, kind of the typical stuff. So you know, a little hard for people to maybe find my specific stuff. They look for Sauce on Side. It would be labeled on any of this stuff. All the NFTs are available through rvnft.art, and that's where I plan on releasing all the future stuff. And just, yeah, stay tuned at the concert. I'll kind of drop a little bit more hints where you can find this stuff. It's actually, I'm going to apologize and say, unfortunately, it's not all NFTs, but believe it or not, I think that's going to help maybe bring some attention to the NFT world by available everywhere. So, yeah, that's it. Big into IPFS, and I will say that I have a lot of things that legally maybe not be released for copyright reasons, but IPFS is kind of the underground, and I'll just leave it at that. So, yeah, thanks.
Fantastic. So, yeah, look, so we love your music. Just probably just to keep you up to date, what's been going in some of the spaces, which has actually been driven by Sunny. She's actually been the one who planted that idea in terms of the spaces where we sometimes we close off with your song, and I actually started calling your Kapow song as the unofficial anthem of the Ravencoin community. So I hope you don't mind me tagging you with that tag on it.
No, not at all. That's amazing. I'm flattered. I'm honored, and I would be lying if I said that wasn't the dream from the beginning. I just didn't expect to achieve it. But yeah, no, that's awesome. That's the idea. It is certainly the song for the community, and I'm glad that it's embraced. I really am.
That's a fantastic song, man. Thank you. And look, in terms of from a selfish perspective, I hope you get to do a cover of the Australian band Cockroaches, which we've had conversations about. A great Aussie rock band from the 80s and 90s who went on to become the Wiggles. Well, most of them are the Wiggles, who make up the Wiggles, the children's obviously entertainers. So I hope you get to do maybe a cover of one of those that we've been talking.
I'll say no promises, but you know, as we've already previously discussed, I would say I'm halfway there to a cover. Right? I mean, there is at least one cover that I know that they played too, but yeah, no, stay tuned. I'm only on song number 13 out of 100.
Nice.
So
Nice.
you got a long way to go.
So you got a few to go. No, thanks, SOS. Appreciate it, mate. Okay.
And just quick thing, SOS, I just sent you a Discord direct message with a song that is exactly up in your alley. If at all you miss, 1 out of 100, maybe want to exchange it or whatever. So, sorry.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, no, I'll check for it. Yeah. Oh, let me just say one last thing. Yeah, I kind of disappeared from Twitter and stuff. I know. Sorry, that's a little weird, but anyone can Discord me. My email address, multiple email addresses for all the different bands are out there. Please feel free. I'm just kind of anti-Twitter, not really, obviously. So yeah, feel free. Reach out, Discord me.
All good, mate. We've got your details. We know where you live on Discord. So yeah, let's keep in contact there. That's great. I got LSJ. I can see LSJ. Do you want to just give us an update? What's happening with your projects, LSJ?
Yeah, sure. No worries. Glad to see everyone here. Let's give a quick origin and then say where we're thinking of going. So with Ravencoin, I came in at least 2 seconds. I'll just kill that. So yeah, I came in fairly early and I've been learning along with a lot of other people, and some best practices and ideas and things that Ravencoin can help. So a lot of it is based around what I've learned and just want to share with people. So one of the things that I'm helping with is a group called Raven Angels, which is basically just there to help support people and businesses who want to get into Ravencoin and tokenize stuff. Not only Ravencoin, but also any blockchain, as long as it fits and is suitable for fit for purpose, basically. So that's what we're trying to do. So one of the things that we've done recently, in the last since January, is I was sitting back and thinking about the Raven Angels as a group, and realizing that yes, potentially about NFTs or unique assets on Ravencoin, but I don't know anything about a collection or looking after one and what it takes to do that. So that's how Birds of a Feather came into being. So that's an NFT collection of images, the 200 images that are basically I've built, I made based experiences in Ravencoin. So the stuff that I like and see as valuable, changed, and wanted to share with people. So yeah, so that's what I'm busy with. And there's a couple of special ideas and experiments with Birds of a Feather, if anyone's interested in checking them out. There's some interesting agreements that are, just an experiment, honestly. So yeah, it's the collection, the NFT collection is based on the Ravenist, or that's where it lives at the moment. And the ones that are still available for sale, etc., are there. And you can read a bit about the agreement and the description and things. And yeah, so obviously the reason I'm here is to kind of help people and teach people a bit about Ravencoin and support the community as much as I can, but also do what people do. So the collection, the Birds of a Feather collection, the way I've arranged it is a part of it, about 20% can get donated to support the Raven community for certain projects. So I think 10% of the sales go to Raven Angels to help support their work, which part of that is cost of creating assets to give to future businesses, create names that they can use, because the names are unique and they're given out on a first come first served basis. So we secure those names and then pass them on to businesses who can use them in future. So that's where part of the funding kind of goes. And then the other 10% is given to a stablecoin proposal to help fund that, because it's a USD stablecoin we believe would really help the Raven ecosystem flourish. So yeah, so that's what we've been doing, and yeah, we're just trying to help people out as much as we can. That made sense.
Absolutely, LSJ. That's fantastic. And again, for us, I mean, some of us know, but probably for the people that don't know, LSJ is one of our people to go to. He's been involved with the chain for a long time. He knows all the technicalities from a coding perspective, and he's got the whole vertical integration in terms when it comes to the Ravencoin. So obviously lives and breathes it, and obviously has their own projects. So again, he's the person that, if you want to go deep about Ravencoin and from a technical perspective, he's the man to go deep about. So we're very fortunate to have LSJ as part of our community that gives us some great depth in terms of what the Ravencoin is all about, and then more importantly also from a technicality perspective and a coding perspective, he always provides great content in our spaces in terms of from a technical perspective that I think sometimes we find it hard ourselves to articulate some of the aspects of the technicalities of the Ravencoin. So we're very fortunate to have you, LSJ, and again, people that are coming on from other chains and early in the journey, he's certainly somebody that we're very fortunate to have. So thanks, LSJ.
No, thank you for the kind words and stuff. I'm very grateful for Ravencoin because the way it's built does make it easy to implement. So I am massively appreciative of the developers and stuff who have the backsides off to make it all work really smoothly and well, so that anybody can do it without necessarily needing a huge amount of any coding experience. So yeah.
Fantastic. What we might do, mate,
If I could just speak to that for a second, Rick.
Yeah.
You see me bouncing back and forth as I was setting up people's websites on monitors and stuff, but I'm loving what I'm hearing. And what I'm hearing is that there's a realization in the very near future, people aren't going to care. Like as the newbies come on, they don't care what blockchain it's built on. They just want to know that the apps they're using is easy to use, works the first time, and works every time. And developers will start to realize that if you're going to build anything that's tokenized, you should be building it on Ravencoin.
100%. 100%. Well, keeping within the Johnson family, Haley, would you like to tell us about the movie project that you've been working on? I know you know, your dad's told me, Billy's told me that obviously time's really a major issue to find time to do some of these business development marketing side of things, given that you're very deep in the project. So I really appreciate you coming along today and making time to tell us about your project. So over to you. You want to tell us all about it?
Yeah, sure. Thank you guys for having me here. I can't stay too long because I actually have a coloring appointment for the project that I'm talking about in the next couple of minutes. But basically, my team and I were able to create a full music video for Alaskan artist Medium Build. He's got like this cool alternative indie vibe, and the song that we used for him for his video was called Be Your Boy, which is definitely his more poppier track. And that the music video is entirely like a short content movie, essentially. So when you watch it, it's not just the artist singing and, you know, looking cute and winking at the camera. It's like we really watch these two characters go on this journey. It's about a relationship that doesn't work out, but there's definitely a modern twist to it. It's not just the typical like toxic breakup movie. It's actually mature is what we went for, mature and real. So without spoiling too much of the ending, because of the reason they break up is kind of like our unravel throughout the project. We're looking at releasing in the next couple of weeks. We were lucky enough to partner with a colorist named Jake White, who has been the assistant to Tom Poole, who is our the colorist on Euphoria, if anyone's familiar with that TV show on HBO. So really happy to be collaborating with Jake to hope, you know, bring some greater attention on what we're doing in the Ravencoin community and get some big eyes on the stuff we're doing. So really exciting. Things are moving slowly but surely. Yeah, and I'm excited for you guys to see it. I'm excited for you guys to see our BTS video, which we'll have just for our community tokenized. So we're doing work with Unwoke Funding in that regard. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's fantastic, Haley. That's so exciting. Obviously, it's a first movie project on the Ravencoin chain, so you are a pioneer what you're doing, and we're looking forward to it. So, in terms of if we want to get involved, I know there's an NFT, right, that you put out. But do you want to tell us just quickly about how we can get involved in terms of the NFT side of things?
Getting involved, well, there's plenty of different ways to get involved. There's obviously like going on Unwoke Funding, grabbing tokens to be able to like see the BTS content, as well as we will be selling off memorabilia from the film through NFTs. So like half of the film is actually told through paintings, and those paintings give like key elements to like what the character is going through internally. And they're like revealed at the end of our project, and we'll also be like selling off those as tokens. So if you buy the digital asset, I'll send you the actual hand painted canvas that you can hang in your house. And then also like I'm always just looking for collaborators and meeting new people. So if there's anyone in like an art space, you know, new up and coming artists or things like that in any capacity, whether you're in the film industry, in the music industry, any type of industry, it all goes together. So I'm just plenty of ways you can get involved, some with tokenization, some with just, you know, DMing me, but whatever works.
Fantastic. No, I appreciate that, Haley. Really exciting. Like I said, we're looking forward to the journey that you've set, and be great for us to be involved in your journey in terms of what's happened, because like I said, you are the first movie project, and that's really exciting for the Ravencoin chain to be involved in what you're doing. So thank you so much for making the time.
If I could also just speak to that for a second. So if you want to jump in early, you can go to Ravenous.com, go to the Unwoke Funding profile, and you can pick up a placeholder token. Having a placeholder token is going to put you in line for the memorabilia NFTs. And the way that we're doing the memorabilia NFTs, we're going to be working with some, obviously we're working with Ravenous there, which, is one of our premier marketplaces. And those placeholder tokens are exclusively on Ravenous. But, you know me, I'm about let's find all the strengths in all of our different marketplaces and utilize them. Another marketplace that I'm not announcing yet will help us to mint the memorabilia. And so let me be clear what I explain here. The an NFT is truly supposed to be unique. So this particular film that Haley and her put together is 3 minutes and 27 seconds. So if you took the 0 second of every screen still that you could pull, that would mean that you would have 3 minutes, that's 60 seconds. So that would be 180 plus the 27 seconds. So that would mean that there would only be 207. But realistically, a lot happen in a movie, like down to 1/100th of a second. Now, I do not believe we're going to do that many, so that would be 207, 100. We're probably going to find within that 100 second the stills that make sense that somebody would want. So literally everybody that gets an NFT will have a completely different screenshot. And as you can imagine, if ever in a film there's a fade to black, nobody wants to randomly be assigned a black still, right? Where it's just blank. So that's why, I'm not 100% sure exactly how many possible can be minted, but we'll figure out how to, have an algorithm in the future so that when filmmakers come out with anything as short as a music video all the way up to a full length feature film, that, they'll be able to very easily generate these things, because nobody wants to sit there and make 2,000 manually.
Yeah, that's great, Philly. Thank you for that. So as you can see, he's a very proud father. What Haley's doing, and we always enjoy Philly's support across all things on the Raven chain and trying to help everybody. I know he probably stretches himself too much, I think, and I have told him to actually ask upstairs, see if upstairs can actually give him a 40-hour day, because 24 hours is just not enough, given all the stuff he's involved in helping people. So we really appreciate you, mate, in terms of what you're doing, and obviously with Haley's project, that's fantastic, and we look forward to following the journey of the project. That's fantastic. Thanks, Philly.
Thank you. Just if I can just answer that for a second. I'm fully conscious. I'm not a religious guy, but I'm fully conscious that it's not me. There's a greater thing that's happening here, and I'm just a conduit.
Yeah, thanks, mate. That's great. No, I'm just running through my list, make sure I'm not missing anybody. NXS. I just saw you're hiding somewhere where I can't see you through the crowd. But do you want to come up and speak about, in terms as an NFT artist, what's happening now with your projects, and what's happening in coming up in the next few weeks, few months, what you got planned? There she is. Hello, NXS.
Hi, I'm hiding back here in the back.
I can see you.
Taking it all in. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. We can hear you clear. Yep.
Excellent. I'm working on a few things. I still have my art up on the Ravenist for sale, and all the proceeds from that are going into the work that I'm doing on a new site. More of the project, basically. It's not really a whole lot to present, because I'm still building the foundation of all the pieces. But I'm working on comehithertoraven.com, and it's going to do different spotlights on the Raven community and other chains, different projects of note. And I've got the homepage built, and it's on display in one of the monitors if you wanted to see where it's starting out. But I wanted to have more built, but it's a process trying to sort all the ins and outs. of the different things. But I have the Ravenists or the this page put up on there, and I got today's event put up, and I want to highlight SOS's song and all the different things that you guys have going on because it's pretty amazing. I like that we have all these innovative people interlacing all these projects together, and then to be able to, as a new artist, seeing the possibilities is overwhelming. You kind of get lost. So I'm trying to filter that all down into a digestible format where you get all your options and what can be done if you want to do it at all, where to begin and what's available to you. So I'll be putting in free tools as I can find, like even with artificial intelligence art, the different programs and things that I have run into to make journeys more interesting and easier for somebody. And that's really it at the moment.
That's fantastic, NXS. Just in
Yeah,
terms,
just to clarify something. So what I'm so excited about NX doing is that she essentially is going to be an on-ramp for anybody that's already working on any other chain. Because as we through this digital art renaissance, people waking up around the world and they're going to want to get involved. If there is a chain agnostic helper such as her that can say, here's how you get started, here's how you do it, and just there's a little subliminal there that if you're going to do NFT art right, do it on Raven.
yeah, 100%. I just pressed the wrong button here. Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Well, we have a really big pitch with Raven too. I mean, the being priced out of things is a huge wall, and Raven really helps eliminate community, fosters such assistance and connection that you really, if you have a blockade, but it's going to help you figure it out, and the costs are so minimal. It's easy to get involved in. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Morgan and doing what I'm doing, if it wasn't for Philly and you buying my art, putting it in your token, and that I love that. I have to give back and expand more.
Yeah, thanks, NXS. That's fantastic. I still remember the first time you came into our community, and I think it was actually at Crypto Lisa's Women in NFT and Crypto, that Monday session, and so again, obviously, that was again. I keep referring to you from an NFT artist as really a sort of a blueprint. People that want to come in from other chains and to be able to start in a new chain because of the challenges that we all know that other chains have. So again, I always use you as a bit of a blueprint to articulate. Yeah, so it's great. Thank you so much, and probably make people aware. I think sometimes because obviously we're starting to build, Ravenous is starting to obviously build quite a lot of NFT artists there, and sometimes I think we just keep in mind there's some beautiful work that NXS has got on there, her pieces. Although you started on RV NFT art, and that's where Brick Koala, we bought your first, well, I think it was your second art piece, NFT art piece. Probably just tell us in terms of, are you focusing on the two or just the Ravenous at the moment, where you minting your NFT art? NXS?
Well, I started an NFT because that's so amazingly simple. I was a little overwhelmed with all the nuances and what was needed, and he really helped. And I was astonished that help was free, because when someone uses that word consultation, in my journey, that word has been bait and is cost, and nothing is free. I was really impressed that he was willing to sit down and speak with me and put that up there. And the community and the marketing, all of that is just fine. I love it. It's beautiful. The nuances of the difference between RV and NFT and Ravenist. I think the only thing is like royalties. That's the difference for me. And if I want to put work out that takes me 3 years to create, and then I sell it for $50, and then 2 years from now somebody sells it for $5,000, I get nothing unless there's a royalty to it. And I was looking at that, being able to feed back into the community, and Ricky was leaving, and I didn't know it was happening. So I was like, well, this gives me an incredible opportunity to go explore another platform and see what they have to offer. And it's really, the community is the same across both of these that I see so far. The only difference, more collections on Ravenist versus on Raven NFT. The community and the help is all the same.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, if I can just get us all to, consider something, like let's figure out what we got to do so that Ricky gets fully engaged again. I know he's a busy guy. He's out there actually saving the world environmentally, and so he's a guy that's down. I know about the guys that are in his business line. They don't get, just in general, from everything I see, whether it's in Ravencoin or whether it's in the real world, guys like Ricky are making the world a better place, and they're never going to get the credit they deserve for it. And so it's my mission to get him credit that he deserves, and hopefully get him in the right turn, like where I believe his heart to be, which is to help people figure this out, get them going, and become profitable. And unfortunately, I don't think he received enough. We all know and give him thanks, but it'd be nice if that was reflected in his bank account.
Yeah, good point, Philly. Good point. Let's all try us, because I have a huge respect for Ricky, and obviously some of the stuff that we've been doing, and obviously in terms of people being trying to help come onto our chain, and Ricky's always been very open in terms of trying to help these NFT artists, whether it be music or art. So again, he's of great value to our chain. So hopefully we keep supporting him, and hopefully that keeps helping us as a community to keep growing our community with people like Ricky. Good point, Philly. So in terms of mentioned Crypto Lisa before, so are you there, Crypto Lisa and Xander? What I'd like to sort of get you to speak about, obviously very exciting, AMD Daily Crypto, the new website and the new YouTube channel that you guys have been working on and launched just recently. Do you want to just talk about that, Crypto Lisa? Just give us an update, what's happening, and what some of the things that are coming up that you're looking at.
Yeah, I can. Xander actually just walked out of the room, so I'll give you a little rundown. So AM Daily Crypto is just starting. We have merchandise up. We also have merchandise up for women in crypto. Our own merchandise. We have Ravencoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, just all kinds of stuff in general on the website. I also write a blog as well on there. We're doing YouTube. We try to help the Ravencoin community with getting NFTs out there. So our first video, I think I had Andy's giraffe, and then our second video, both of us had Degen smokers, and then last night's video, or 2 nights ago, we had the birds of a feather on, and then of course we did a short 10-minute video on your project, Lewis. And so our goal with it is to focus on crypto, like in general, but also focus down on coins as well. Our main coin will be Ravencoin. We also do like posts and stuff on Twitter. So if you guys could just like, retweet, subscribe to our YouTube, we truly, truly appreciate it. Just trying to get the word out there about Ravencoin and potential business. I myself have been asked several times about Ravencoin in general and just tokenization, so I've had several businesses reach out to me via Twitter. So yeah, that's just kind of what we're doing, and that's like a short little, 3-minute about what we do.
That's great. Thanks, Crypto Lisa. Really appreciate that. And again, for those of you who don't know Crypto Lisa, who are new to this today, Crypto Lisa plays a critical part in our community. So her and Sunny have a women in crypto and NFTs on Mondays. a weekly space session on Twitter. Again, that's a great platform to help people who are trying to come out to our chain, especially if you're an NFT artist. And they've been great in terms of, as I said, NXS. That's how NXS came onto our chain, through that space. So again, Cryptoleaf's been around for a long time in the crypto and obviously the Raven chain, and they're both her and her partner Xander, they're heavily involved with the community. Xander is a miner, so they obviously got different aspects in terms of how they're involved with the chain. So they can continue to be an important part of our community in terms of what we do. So thank you, Cryptoleaf and Xander, for what you guys do, and thank you for your support, because you've done a fantastic job, as I said to you on Twitter, in terms of how you showcased our Brick Koala and Brick BC projects in terms of what we're doing from a property tokenization. So it was a fantastic video you did that on your YouTube channel, AMD Daily Crypto. So thank you so much. Yeah, so it's if we keep moving along to actually I've got Matt's to my left here. I can see Matt. Matt, you're sort of cover in terms of as an auctioneer, you've done quite obviously a few auctions here at Braveland with NFT auctions. Want to just give us an update in terms of what's happening in your project, your neck of the woods, and what's sort of coming up that you got planned? You want to share that with us? You going to sleep on me, Matt? You there, Matt? Can't hear me? Okay, we'll come back to you if you're not able.
Yeah, actually, Matt's probably away right now. He is an amazing guy, and he's in touch with all kinds of different cryptocurrencies, different communities. And so what Matt's plan, as I believe it to be, is that he's going to utilize this great resource that we have, which is Braveland, which is horribly underutilized. So, we're on a mission to fix that. So on his website, NFT Auctions, you may notice there's the How to Braveland type page, where we're trying to be chain agnostic and become an on-ramp for artists. What Matt's plan, as I understand it to be, is that he will showcase artist work, and if you've ever been to one of his auctions, he stays out of the actual transaction. So they, the two participants, the seller and the high bidder, they have 24 hours to complete the transaction, and he'll basically out somebody who doesn't do the right thing. Fortunately, there has not been an instance so far where he had to step in hard. But so imagine if you're an artist and you've already got some of your art on the different platforms that are already on the Raven Point chain. Whether it's RV NFT, Missouri, if I pronounced that wrong, I apologize, and Ravenist. He will feature one large, probably one of the higher priced that you have. Our goal is to get as many people into that auction room as possible, even if they're just there to watch, because the more people looking, the more exciting it gets. And at the end of the day, auctions are just theater, so why not attract a large audience and make it entertaining for others to watch. And then somebody can, that one particular piece of art, however the transaction needs to occur, is up to the artist and the buyer. Ultimately, in addition to that one piece that's being showcased on the monitors throughout Braveland, we can make it so other people can go and click right on the image, go to whatever marketplace it's on, and then complete the transaction there. This way, we're in a situation where the buyer wins, the artist wins, and the marketplaces win.
That's fantastic. The units also just cover the regular. Is Matt doing it once a week, once a month in terms of the auctions here at Braveland?
So what we're actively doing right now is we're trying to add functionality to the site that makes it easier for artists to join in, and then based on the participants, that's actually going to dictate. Obviously consistency is important. So if he's doing it once a week, that'll be the starting point, and then who knows, maybe it grows to the point where he has assistants. He stepped up to the plate And by his own admission, he's not an auctioneer. But until we can get to the point where an auctioneer can be compensated, then it's my belief that he's very willing to step aside to let the people that are best at certain things do those things, and then he can just be behind the scenes facilitating, getting this all going on.
That's very good. You made a good point before. We just got to be conscious that Matt actually makes no money. So when he actually does the auctions, he actually makes no money from it. So obviously he's giving up his time. Obviously he's giving up to promote the NFT artists, to put buyers and sellers together. And again, if we can sort of in some way help him, because at the end of the day, time is money for everybody, right? So if we can in some way sort of help him out in terms of, and again, I'm not too sure how, but again, support him, I guess, is probably a start in supporting his events.
He has no problem taking tips. So if you sell a piece of art and then you think that it's worth throwing him a percentage, whatever you deem fit, then he's not going to say no to your donation.
No, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Just going through the list we got here. Kevin Lynch, I did actually reach out to see if he could actually attend today's event, and he wasn't too sure because there are a few things going on. But so probably Sonny, do you want to just, given that you were part of the team, sort of that helped him get onto iRavenChain, given the Kobe Bryant NFT. You want to just quickly sort of cover in terms of the latest, obviously with the auction finished obviously a few days ago. Do you want to just cover that, Sonny, in terms of give us an update on his behalf? You all right, Sonny? You good to talk, Sonny, or no? Having problems with your mic?
All right, if Sonny can't speak up, I can speak to this a little bit.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of interaction with Kevin's team, and I have nothing but the best to say about their professionalism and their goals, and I'm very committed, regardless of how they sell that NFT, or who is the actual buyer eventually of that NFT. I think, so there's some information I can share regarding what's really going on in the NFT Ethereum world. You can just Google it. You can just Google Justin Bieber NFT monkey business, and what really is going on these other chains, and the SEC is about to crack down on it hard, is that Justin Bieber's case, he was transferred a large sum of money, which then my understanding is that he then converted it to a certain type of cryptocurrency to buy something that he really didn't buy. It was, it was just money changing hands to promote that NFT brand, and then what he was supposedly going to get out of it by appearing to be somebody that would invest a lot of money into something, he was going to get a piece of all the future NFTs that basically people got pulled into. This is not in the news articles, but to me that's a classic Ponzi scheme, and the SEC doesn't like that. So the FTC probably doesn't like it either. So anyway, the thing that I'm trying to get everybody to really understand about what Kevin Lynch and his team is doing is Kevin has lifelong relationships with celebrities. Celebrities trust him, and so it is important to me that Kevin is successful, because at the end of the day, we don't want more news articles like what's occurring with Justin Bieber right now. We want legitimate celebrities working with a trusted group such as Masterpiece Digital, so that they can get into the NFT world without any monkey business.
Yeah, that's critical, because at the end of the day, there's always those bad apples that spoil for everybody, and I guess it's and this is the beauty about our chain in terms of the values, I think, as a chain that we've got, and obviously it's up to all of us to patrol those values to making sure we don't have bad apples come into our community, and that's critical from a reputation perspective. But yeah, no, it's again, I agree with you, Phil, in terms of, if I can just add, Obviously, Kevin Lynch is obviously a world globe photographer, as some of us know, and for those who don't, he's worked with some big names, both in the sport, entertainment industry, and other areas as well. So for him to be successful, we're successful because again, it draws people to our chain, and I don't think we even sort of comprehend how big that can be, because obviously he works with a lot of photographers around the world, and they're looking at Kevin Lynch, what he's actually done, taking his art to an NFT, and to obviously more specifically to our Raven chain. So we're going to see that a lot of photographers around the world that are obviously part of his network that are going to follow suit. So in terms of what he's done. So as I said before in some of the other spaces, here's our blueprint, and we're going to make sure he's successful in terms of what he's doing on our chain, because there'll be our blueprint for our chain to attract other photographers around the world, especially the ones in his network. So again, it's pretty exciting for our chain to have him involved, and let's keep supporting him. I don't know what the future projects of NFTs he's got planned. Obviously, this has been the first one. This is his first one, the Kobe NFT. I don't know what he's got planned for other ones to be dropped. So. But yeah, whatever they are, I think it's important for us to get behind and support him, because him being successful means that we're all successful collectively. So, but yeah, it's pretty exciting times from that perspective in terms of our chain.
Yeah, just to dig into that just a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
Once again, here's another thing where guys like Kevin Lynch, all the different people that are here talking today, they're starting to get an understanding that you got to meet people where they are. So if Kevin launches something on another chain, don't be surprised and don't be offended. That's the most important thing, because at the end of the day, he's got to meet the celebrities where they're most comfortable. And if they unfortunately decide that they want to be on a different chain just because that's where all their friends are, it doesn't mean anything negative about Ravencoin. Because competition breeds success, and it just makes everything better. And so what I'm talking about is competition between chains. Now we all know in our little group here that human readable names that don't require a smart contract are probably the safest way for somebody to go. But let's not poo-poo what their efforts might be if they make a decision that, as I believe, will not be in the long-term interest. However, it doesn't mean that once somebody owns an NFT on a different chain, then they couldn't, want it to be reminted on a safer chain. So, just think about all the different people right now that were on chains that because they didn't know about Ravencoin or they didn't understand the benefit of it. At some point, they'll move it over to a blockchain where they're confident that future buyers will have the most utility and the safest proof of ownership and transfer of ownership.
Yeah. Thanks, Billy. That's great. I did have a few other people here that I did invite along. That there was a commercial real estate project that community that they're looking at minting. They're part of the DigiShare stable, and I've been talking with them. We obviously had the session yesterday on I was invited to speak on their space session on Twitter. So there is a commercial real estate project coming up. I think I've convinced him to actually mint on the Raven chain. He was sort of deciding which 3 chains to mint on: Ethereum or Ravencoin or Binance. So and I think I've made a hard enough case for him that there's no alternative other than the Raven chain. So again, I was hoping for him to be here, but obviously couldn't make it. But again, there is a commercial real estate projects coming up. Probably in terms of, we talk about on the topic of property tokens. So probably just cover my project. So BrickBC projects, we tokenise Australian property. So basically, at the moment, we've got the Brick Koala property token series, which is a residential property family home based in Brisbane, Australia. And the way I always try to simplify in terms of what is property tokenisation or real estate tokenisation I always try to bring it back to a simple example. And I always say, just think of, you got 5 people. You've probably been involved before, where you've got 5 family members or 5 friends. You're going in to buy a property, and just say it's a $1 million property. Everybody's kicking $200,000 in to buy that property jointly. You buy it, you then rent it out. You get the rent every month. You distribute that rent, accordingly, and you're on that journey in terms of owning that property jointly. In terms of what we're doing in terms of Break BC projects, it's exactly that, but we're talking about 40,000 pieces of a property, where we get the ability to own pieces of those property, that piece of that property through property tokens. So again, it's the fundamentals are exactly the same. The only difference is, as a group buying that Brick Koala, let's use Brick Koala property, is that you don't have to worry about managing it, because obviously we take care of it from the start in terms of obviously gathering everybody together. We buy it, we settle, we manage the property, and we keep that property indefinitely. So that property doesn't get sold at all, because obviously here in Brisbane in particular, in the Gold Coast and the Sunshine Coast, the areas we're focusing on, that we've got a huge growth aspect in terms of what's happening in property. So those properties are kept indefinitely. Just to give you an idea in terms of what's happening in property here, and it's not just a once-off. Properties here in Australia, especially here in our market here, Southeast Queensland, the rule of thumb, it doubles. So basically, got a property doubles every 10 years. That property value doubles. We've got some extraordinary variables over the next 10 years. So we are the Olympic City for 2032 here in Brisbane, and which obviously spills to Gold Coast and Sunshine Coast. So we've got some extra variables in play at the moment that's going to be more than just double. So what we're basically projecting is in 10 years' time, the property will be around 3.5 times its current market value. So that the total value is $2.6 million cost. So if you do your numbers, and I won't get into the numbers because it's a Saturday, it's a Sunday here, Saturday there. Don't want to get sort of too bunged in the figures, and but it's all on the website anyway in terms of that property. But some of you are property token holders in the Brick Koala. But yeah, so we got some few things in play in terms of what's happening in property here in Brisbane. So just to give you an idea, property prices here in the last 12 months increased by 20%. Next 12 months, conservatively, it'll be around 15% increase, given some of the things that have been happening here. So we've got a very solid property market, and especially in the residential space that we're focusing on. And obviously some good times ahead. And basically, just to give you a brief in terms of the model, is that when we buy property and put it up for tokenization like this Brick Koala, the net rent goes into investing into a crypto portfolio. So every month the net rent that comes out gets invested into crypto. So basically you got a property that's owned by a special purpose vehicle, a private company, and then basically that private company owns the core asset, which is the property. It then obviously you're going to have this asset's going to be increasing as a crypto portfolio that from the rent that's generated each month gets invested into crypto portfolio. And then you've also got a third sub asset in there, which is NFT. So each property token series will have around 12 NFT art pieces. So at the moment, I think we're up to 7 NFT art pieces. We've got one of NXS's art piece in there. We've got one of Morgan's art pieces in there. We've got Birds of a Feather art piece of LSJ. We've got also Indy Bow's beautiful art piece in there, which is the Swan. So and I apologise if I missed anybody that's here. So we've got 7 pieces at the moment. So we try to keep it to 12. So basically, we've got each property token series to be made up of 3 sub assets. One being the core asset, obviously being the residential property, which is obviously the critical piece of the whole value of the token series. Obviously going to have the crypto portfolio. It's going to be increasing each month from the net rent, and obviously also the NFTs as a third sub asset in the subclass of asset with the NFTs. So that's pretty much in a summary overview in terms of what we're doing with Australian property tokenisation. We'll keep focusing here in Australia. We keep focusing specifically here in Southeast Queensland because that's the market that this is the point of difference in who we are and my networks we got here. And I just want to make sure I stick to my own rules, keeping to the 5 minutes. But that's pretty much in a nutshell in terms of what we're trying to achieve. if I could sort of expand that in terms of what's happening in property tokenization, we are the first ones on the Raven chain. So we got at the moment we've got Hydro Chain, Dan and Sarah's project. They're about to launch soon. Don't quote me. I think when I was talking to Sarah, I think they're looking at next month, either late this month or early next month, I believe. But don't quote me on it. They're just trying to fine tune a couple of things before their launch. So they're on the east coast of America with their residential property. We've also got Jake, who's about to also announce some things shortly. Jake's also got his residential property project to be launched soon. And again, that's also on the East Coast in Chicago. So that's at the moment. On the Raven chain, we've got 3 residential projects, and we've also got a commercial project coming up in June by Community. So there'll be that's also on the East Coast as well. The commercial property that they're tokenizing. So again, we're very early, and I know in Australia we are the first platform to and on any chain to tokenize real estate property. And for my last count, because obviously we're working with DigiShares, from last count, if we have a look at property token projects around the world, this was the last count. Don't quote me now, but last month there was only 19 projects in terms of platforms, property tokenization platforms around the world. So there's actually only 19 around the world at the moment. So we're very early, and I'm very proud in terms of being one of those 19 projects around the world in doing property tokenization. Obviously, we've been guided by DigiShares. They created our platform. They are the global leaders in property tokenization. So they created our platform, Property Tokens platform, and also they maintain our platform. So we are using the best of breed when it comes to property tokenization. So again, they again very very proud to be one of those 19th around the world. And but again, as I said before, my vision when it comes to property tokenization on the Raven chain, it'd be great to have platforms that people can come onto our chain and have platforms around the world where we can be able to buy into projects in the UK, in projects in around Europe, projects in America. Obviously, we've got us in Australia and South Africa, and having that diverse ability to tap into various projects, property projects around the world. That's my ultimate vision. And again, as I said before, people that are coming on, and I've had a few inquiries, people that are looking at doing it, and there was only actually one yesterday that I actually put them on to Klaus, the CEO of DigiShares, because they're looking at tokenizing some property on the East Coast, up sort of north of the East Coast of America. So they're looking to explore that space. So again, in the way I think, my mindset is that is helping other people come onto our chain, especially property token projects that give us diversity in moving forward, and hopefully provides also a massive point of difference on the Raven chain in terms of who we are, and diversity, not just property, but diversity with NFTs, diversity with music, movies. There's even a water rights project on there, and we did reach out to them to come on today, but unfortunately they couldn't attend. So just to give you sort of in terms of a bit of an update, what's happening from a property tokenization perspective. What I might do, just might open up. I'm not too sure, Dow. I'm not too sure whether you've got a project that you'd like to share with us, or and again, if you do, please come on and sort of shares if you have got a project you want to share with us. And I'll open up the floor if there's any other projects that people want to sort of articulate in terms of what's happening, keep us all informed. So I'll open up the floor. And Dow, probably just you first, and yeah.
Sorry, I just wanted to say really quick. Could Dow, the guy standing next to me, be the guy you were having a chat to yesterday? Just
the commercial property?
Yeah.
Hey, you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you.
So, I'm not the guy you had a conversation with yesterday. That was Devin. But Devin is, I think, having some internet issues today. So I can stand in for him to a degree.
Yeah. So I didn't realize the link there. I mean, obviously, I was on there with Devin because I actually didn't even know his first name. I keep calling him Community because that's what comes up on the profile in Twitter. So it's good, yeah, good to have you now in terms of. Okay, I guess it's great that there's a link there. So that's great. Thanks, LA Chase, for putting it out.
Absolutely, no. I mean, I was just going to come on here and sort of support him.
Yeah.
He was going to give a speech and talk to you, and but I in some ways and can speak for him. We have had a really interesting development at Community Gal since mid-December. We've had a growing sort of network effect since that time, trying to build on sort of a lot of the momentum with DAOs in the Web3 sort of newspeak in Twitter and on some other forums. And Ravencoin actually came up recently indirectly. We have sort of developed as a initial protocol a desire to mint Airbnb style vacation rental properties onto the blockchain, as a mission for Community DAO. And we began to have realtors that came onto our Discord server, and they, one of them in particular, recommended Ravencoin as a solid thing to work from. So I mean that's where that's my point of. I mean I am honestly I was unable to listen last night, but that is my point of entrance here. So maybe you could speak to that. Why would a realtor in Florida suggest Ravencoin as an ideal blockchain for real estate tokenization?
Yeah, but if I can come from my perspective, obviously, in terms of property tokenization, and then maybe after, if LSJ can sort of lead in terms of, from a technical perspective on the Raven chain, but if I can just sort of cover from my perspective, when we were looking at, in terms of what chain, and obviously we use DigiShares. If we go back, say, 12 months ago, when we was at that stage where I had done all the research and was looking for who was going to be our service provider creating our platform, DigiShares kept coming up all the time, and I had a look at other people's other platforms in terms of that service provider, and so basically the discussion started with DigiShares, and DigiShares at that point in time, if we go back 12 months ago, DigiShares they only had Ethereum chain to tokenize on. But as I sort of started talking more with Klaus, the CEO, in terms of what the future was in terms of other chains, he did actually say to me, look, we are going to be adding Ravencoin chain. And again, in terms of, if we go back, like we obviously started doing all our paper legals and so forth at that time, 12 months ago. And obviously, Ethereum was the only thing available. So basically we started doing, basically we're going to mint on Ethereum. And just the way things worked out, we by the time we sort of got down to the Ravencoin being the chain added to what DigiShares were minting on as an added chain, for us was a bit too late for the first Brick Koala token series. But our second one will be on the Ravencoin. And as we speak right now, Ravencoin chain, there's actually no property tokenization platform, property token series on the Raven chain as we speak, only because DigiShares were still sorting things out, because obviously it's all new, it's all technicalities that had to sort through, and basically if we go back to 5 months ago when we decided that okay, well, the next one is going to be on the Raven chain, and what made me decide that, a few critical points around that. We decided because, gas fees is obviously a lot lower. But there was also, because obviously we're talking about Ethereum, we know what the challenges are with gas fees. And I won't bore you with the details, how much it costs us to mint Brick Koala on the Ethereum chain. Because, like I said, if we didn't continue that momentum, we still actually wouldn't have Brick Koala series on the chain yet. It wouldn't be up for, you wouldn't be able to buy it yet. So. But what we actually did, although that the first one had to be on the Ethereum, the Brick Koala, although the whole series is on the Ethereum chain, But in terms of the actual, when people then buy it and obviously buy between each other, buy and sell between each other, we're actually keeping that off chain. So we're actually keeping it within our platform, Property Tokens platform. In terms of, so there's not going to be any gas fees. So that's how we address the issue with our gas fees. And again, when we look at going back to why we actually then made that move for the Raven chain to mint on future property token series, the second one and beyond, the reason, like I said, low gas fees, the ease of the tokenization process to mint on the chain, because obviously we were given the guidance in terms of what it took to mint on the Raven chain from DigiShares. And then, but probably, well, not probably, but one of the big factors is also community. And for me, community, in terms of all I've done in the past, all the things I've done in the past, it's always about personal engagement with people. Community is critical. And as a, for spending my last 28 years as an accountant, working with businesses and having my own accounting firm for 28 years and working with small to medium-sized businesses, that personal engagement, that trust, those values that go with engaging with people on long-term journeys is such a critical element in terms of what you do. And the Raven chain's got that. In terms as a community, we've got that. So when I started engaging with people in the beginnings, like Sunny and Crypto Lisa and Philly, in the early stage, and LSJ, just to name a few, and I apologise if I miss other people, but in those early stages when we made the decision and I was having a look at community, that's exactly what we're looking for. A community base that's able to help each other, doesn't matter what the project is, to help each other on the journey. So community played a huge part also in terms of why we actually chose the Raven chain to mint on in going forward. Obviously we started then supporting, as part of our engagement, we started supporting NFT artists to, obviously we buy each property token series as well as our own business, Brick VC Projects. We then also started buying NFTs to support NFT artists coming onto our chain, to be able not to just put those those NFT art pieces on the wall of the property, but also to be able to showcase them in a metaverse, to showcase them in our physical office here in Brisbane. So for us, that also was a critical element in terms of, as a community, and supporting the NFT artists that obviously we're very heavily on NFT as a Ravencoin chain. And so for us, we saw that as a way to support the community through the NFT art that benefits the artist, but also benefits in terms of the art we put on our walls in terms of our properties, both the token series as well as our own premises up on the wall on a big screen. So again, community was one of the major factors, and also obviously being the low gas fees. And as we move forward, and then basically as we obviously buy and sell the tokens on the chain, obviously the cost is next to nothing. So again, you've got to take stepping stones in terms of, especially when you're so early, you've got to be very structured. You've got to be very conscious of the issues. So again, it's the Raven chain is such an easy platform to deal in. And again, it sort of gives you an insight. I was obviously yesterday when I was speaking to Devin, and Devin did actually send me some direct messages before he was having trouble getting on. But I did another connection with you, Dale. But yeah, as I said when I was invited to speak on his space yesterday, and again, as I said to him, at the end of the day, for us, it was a no-brainer, and that's that's an Aussie term we use. It was just an easy decision to make, given the Ravencoin chain in the community, that for us to make that critical decision where we're minting. So again, just sort of hope that sort of gives you a bit of insight. And it's a shame Devin couldn't be here given his technical problems, because I would have loved him to be here. But I did say to him we're having this once a month, so ideally the first Saturday of each month, so it becomes consistent. But yeah, I hope that sort of gives you a bit of an idea in terms of why we did it. Probably LSJ, probably given that from a more technical perspective, from coding and what have you. LSJ, do you want to sort of give us a bit from a technical perspective on the Raven chain as to why?
Yeah, sure, no worries. I just wanted to ask Dal just a question really quickly about his variants and kind of stuff, because I don't want to kind of go too deep into the weeds. I don't want to go too light, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So are you happy with like smart contracts? Are you coding or just
Probably,
using management? I don't
if
know.
if I can give you, Alex, if I give you sort of briefing, sorry, Dale. So basically, at the stage now that so Devon was telling me yesterday that they're at the stage they've got to decide on which chain to mint on. So DigiShares are helping them, just like they helped us, in terms of the actual process, in terms of obviously securing the asset name and the main asset name and so forth. I guess in terms, probably from a technical perspective, as to why would you mint property tokens on the Raven chain, more from that technical perspective, yeah.
Okay, yeah, no worries. So yeah, I'm just making sure that I'm gonna give you like the right bits because it just depends on who you are and on what kind of you would appreciate. So I'm just gonna go for
By the way, LSJ,
high level.
it's been recorded, LSJ. It's been recorded, so Devon will be able to get this. So
Give me your unadulterated angle. Let's hear it.
Yeah, well, it'll get slightly technical, but it's for a good reason. So Ravencoin and the way it was made and built was always as an asset tokenization platform. That was always the intent. So it's not like a solution that has been cobbled together that can do everything, but then can also do this. And Ravencoin is specifically for digital asset tokenization. That's what it's made for. What I would say is that at the moment there's two kinds of ways or blockchains, kinds of ways of they work. So you get more smart contract platforms, like Ethereum, and then you get something called a UTXO based platform, which is a platform that is like Bitcoin. So I'll just give the differences between the two, just because they've got different strengths and weaknesses. So it's really important to understand that because it does affect ownership of the tokens quite significantly. So with smart contract based platforms, the way that the blockchains are constructed, they use addresses to assign ownership. Now on smart contract platforms, you get two different kinds of addresses. You get individual addresses for users. Now that is an address that you can obviously send and receive value on, whatever your native token is. So on Ethereum, that would be Ether, and Ethereum can move between people's addresses. And the way that they move it is using encryption, which means that every address has got its own private key, which allows you to then send the Ether in it, or whatever blockchain you're on, whatever their native token is. That's straightforward. Where smart contract chains are different are the way that they add up and they calculate what is in your address. So the way they calculate it is an account basis or a state basis. So it means that if you've got one Ether your account and then you get sent another Ether, all they do is they go one Ether, remove that and replace it with a 2. So they've added one Ether because you've been sent one Ether. That's the way it works. So there's a single state that is saved and then changes. So that's pretty straightforward. Everyone pretty much gets that straight away. That just kind of makes sense. It's similar to how a bank account works, but because you don't get on-chain full history of how the changes happen. All you get is current state. So your current balance. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, okay. So, moving on from that one, there is another kind of address in smart contract chains, and that's a smart contract address. So what individual addresses can do is they can create a smart contract address and then say what that they want to run, and they get the keys to basically work that smart contract address. And then the smart contract address runs whatever code that it was created to run. So they put whatever code they want to run in, and it does whatever they do. Obviously, one of the functions that they've been using that for, now it's called Turing Complete, but it basically means that you can use software to do pretty much anything. So it's really, really general in what you can do. It is literally a world computer, so you can put anything on there and it'll run. GovT comes in that everything is within the smart contract. So what that means is nothing moves out of that smart contract address. So if you use that code to create a smart contract that is for tokenization, so that it says, all right, we're going to create 100 tokens, and then the tokens would never leave that smart contract. What they would do is they would assign a user's individual's user address on Ethereum and just allocate that next to a token. So say if that changed ownership, the state next to that token change. So you would be allocated it as like you get a receipt for it, but that token wouldn't actually move to your address. And that would happen. So whenever one person changed something on the smart contract, they would have to interact with the whole entire smart contract to let it run through all its code, make whatever changes were needed that they was allowed to make, and obviously there's a cost to doing that. So the cost is made in Ether. It's a much smaller unit called a Gwei or something, but let's not get into the weeds a little bit there. But there's a cost to execute that code. So the more tokens there are, the more changes there are in that code, the more cost to fuel the code or the engine, and the more gas it costs, basically. And that's another phrase for why they call the ether that powers the gas, because it literally powers the engine of that code, what enables it to run. So the more code is to run, the more cost of gas there is for everyone who interacts with that smart contract. So you can see how the likes of OpenSea have major contracts, because interacting with a smart contract gets really expensive really fast. So that's just an overview of smart contract and how they work, and some of the good things and bad things about them. I mean, one of the good things is that the smart contracts are immutable, they can't change, or they shouldn't change. That sounds really good until you realize that the people that are programming these smart contracts are perfect humans, and they found a way to basically redirect smart contract users to another smart contract, or upgrade the smart contract with changes that they want. And some people have crossed this. If a smart contract, if the issuer of the smart contract in the first place still has their keys and stuff, they can redirect the smart contract to another smart contract, and that's how people get rogued, technically. Obviously, you can get rogued in real life with literally the company going bust and just not supporting the project on Ethereum anymore, or whatever your smart contract platform is. But you can actually get rogued technically by the creator, by them just suddenly deciding to remove all the value from the smart contracts by upgrading them. So that's an issue. The way the smart contract ecosystem is kind of developed, and the way that the technology works. So, right, so the Bitcoin-like chains are a little bit different. So with UTXO type chains, Bitcoin-like chains, or Ravencoin-like chains, user addresses are the addresses that you send and receive your native token in. So Bitcoin only transacts Bitcoin. That's what it does. You can't send any other tokens with it, because the agreement from the network is that you can't do that. you can attach bits of like metadata or like just little add-on bits of data, but you can't attach very much. And the risk is that stuff that gets attached as metadata is easily deleted, changed, lost. So Coin is strongest blockchain. It's got really, really solid code, and it's been worked on for a really long time, so it is really but it struggles to do anything else except Coin on the main chain because it's that secure. So what Ravencoin did is they Bitcoin as code, and they added the ability for users of the network to issue tokens that were like the native asset. So someone who goes onto Ravencoin for the ability to create an asset or a token, they can create as many tokens as they want, up to 21 billion, and then they can add an agreement or a fingerprint of a file to link contract to a token, so the agreement is known that the token relates to, then send that actual token that's been created on Ravencoin into the user's addresses. So it actually moves and sits in a user's address where it's protected by their keys. So for us, for me, when I first came in looking at Ravencoin, that was really important to me because for me, ownership's really important. When I went to smart contract chains, the way that they were doing it was having an issuer creating a smart contract that had the ability to be upgraded and then change like who had Toke's account is dangerous, or some can say, because that's to me is not what chains is about. In terms of the transactions, once the tokens have been sent into a user's address, that should be it. They should hold it, or they shouldn't send the tokens, and they should retain control of the tokens and then allocate a person an address in their wallet that they then custody those tokens for the other people, but then just be honest and straightforward about that, rather than using a smart contract, which is basically self-custodying other people's tokens for them. So it's something just to think about and be aware of. There's lots of other questions and things that can arise and come up when you start thinking about how some of the systems are set up at the moment. So one of the questions, I'm just going to answer a question here that people give me a lot. So one of the questions that I get after saying is that when I go normally from Ethereum users, or when I go onto my Explorer and go check my MetaMask wallet or however they check their wallet, it shows me having a whole history of all my transactions and the tokens I own in my wallet. And the response to that is yes, that's what it shows. But it's not what it shows on chain. So the way Ethereum does it to make it look like your tokens are in your wallet is they literally, all the explorers or all the services that are looking at the Ethereum block, they actually take snapshots at all the different heights every time a block's created, and then index them through a database. And so they have a snapshot of the entire history of Ethereum's chain going back every single block, and that's how they get their historical transactions and the tokens moving between different addresses and things. But what's important to note, to remember, is that that history is not on chain. That history is in some explorer's base that's not controlled by you or controlled by people necessarily friendly to you, and I wouldn't trust it, but you can make your own decision about if you would trust that information or not. And if you think that someone else came to them and it was suddenly in their interest for that information to change, they may or may not change it. Because if they wouldn't, but the risk is there that it's the historical information for your transactions is not secured and it's not provable on chain. So yeah, that's kind of sums up smart contracts and how they work, general, but also how Ravencoin works and kind of protects its users by ensuring good ownership actually in the user's addresses. And yeah, so yeah, if you've got any questions, just go for it. Sorry about the long waffle.
That's great. That's great, LSJ. That's why we got you, mate. From the technical perspective, no one puts a bet in the
No,
than
that's
you.
awesome. So I just in researching it, just real quick as a diversion, I read that Ravencoin was sort of developed from the Game of Thrones Raven kind of carrier pigeon thing. Is that correct?
Yeah, that was one of the stories. Yeah, I can actually, ironically. I'm not a great Game of Thrones fan myself personally, but I do love mythology personally. So the two, it was based on Game of Thrones because that was a big thing when Ravencoin got released. But interestingly, there were two ravens that are Odin's messengers, Hugin and Munin, and yeah, they are the carriers of truth that travel between Odin and the rest of the world, carrying the messages of truth. So yeah, so for me, that's what Ravencoin helps people do. So I thought it was interesting when I first saw it, but yeah, it's.
That's great, LSJ. Well put.
That's awesome.
So hopefully,
thank you for that.
that's great. Now, hopefully, like I said, this has been recorded, so I'll put it up, the recording of Braveland, and hopefully Devin can have a squiz and some of the things that LSJ mentioned then, more specifically around from a technical perspective, and hopefully
That's great. That's awesome because I do know that Devin has been speaking with Claus as well.
Yeah.
And that DigiShares, is definitely something we are seriously looking at.
Fantastic. That's great. Like I said, you sort of know if you guys now here, guys and girls. When I refer to guys in Australia, when we call guys, we call guys and girls in the same reference. So I do apologise that that's how we sort of talk here from an Australian perspective. But yeah, look, please, Dow and Devin, mate, if you want to reach out to any of us here, you know most of you follow us on Twitter anyway, so DMs around. So you're starting to get a feel in terms of the people in the different spaces within Ravencoin and know who to go to for further information. So that's great. Now, it's great to having you today, Dale, and hopefully we can continue to attend these events and keep learning like we all do. Every day we learn more because we're all very early, right? But yeah, look, it's as we try to sort of wrap things up before we move on to enjoying some of SOS's music. In the concert part of the beach there. Probably if there's any sort of closing points before we move on to onto the enjoying the music, and then after that we got some boat races that Xander will be leading us along. But yeah, no, any sort of closing points before we move on to the next part? Nothing. Well, I think that's the cue. SOS, lead us the way to the music.
Step into the arena, please.
Fantastic.
Break the sweat.
But just make note, guys, once you go into that area there, some of you haven't been here, obviously you can't, there's no talking because it mutes you, so.
Greetings, people of brave land, take me to your leader. Thank you for coming to my show, bro. I'm assuming you already know me. I'm Sauce on Side. Not because I'm famous or anything, just because it's a small world. And I'd like to welcome everyone, and I want to warn everyone not to get too rowdy, because as usual, we have top-notch security at this show, and I wouldn't want to see anyone get hurt. I am the proud owner of all 4 OGs right here that you see, and I love them. They're fantastic, and really, they're just a small slice of some of the cool stuff out there. For the record, I own all of these. And I know you all, I would say personally, so I strongly believe that you're all cool with me flashing your beautiful art here real quick for everyone to see. These are some of my favorites, but again, that's just a small slice of what's out there. As I mentioned earlier, I've been into cover songs lately, and I know this is one of Lewis's favorites, so without further ado, here is Double Shot of My Baby's Love. That was Double Shot of My Baby's Love, written by Cyril Vetter, performed by Martin Scott Key. I'd like to point out, or shill, or whatever you want to call it, that over the past couple of weeks, I've released some new music to Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, etc. under the name Martin Scott Key. Feel free to check it out. I would also like to point out that these cover songs will all eventually be released as NFTs. Yay, I've figured out licensing, kind of. It's complicated. Anyway, there's some originals too. In the RV NFT Discord a long time ago, I had posted a short clip of the gang vocals at the end of this song. Anyway, I've kind of fattened that up and made it a full-length video. It kind of still needs work. Anyway, the song is cool, so I hope. I don't know, here's Abby. Check it out. That was Abby by Martin Scott Key, also known as Sauce on Side. That one hopefully will be coming soon to RV NFT. Originals are easier to deal with, covers are a little tricky. The deal with the cover songs is I can get the cheap licensing pretty easily to make a cover song, but I can't get it to make a video that easily. So it's partially why these videos are just simply not available anywhere else. I don't have the proper license to distribute them, so whatever. In fact, I'm really not even sure about the legality of this very concert right now. Underground. You know what? I'll spare you the lectures of my half knowledge of copyright law and play you the next tune, which have not been released yet. Well, my version has not been released yet. The original came out in 1962 by the Shirelles. Here is Welcome Home Baby. There is no place like home. There is no place like home. Do you remember? You left this morning and night with everything fine. Welcome home, baby. It's been a long, long time. Long time. Do you remember that little stain on your lips where honey drips? Welcome home, baby. It's been a long, long time. Long time. Well, at 10 o'clock, I was on the at 12 o'clock. I had thought of nothing but you. From 2 o'clock till 4:15, I waited patiently to hear your footsteps at the door. Do you remember that little stain on your lips where honey drips? Welcome home, baby. It's been a long, long time. Welcome home, baby. It's been a long, long time. That was Welcome Home Baby, originally by the Shirelles. My version is not released yet, so there you go. Some super exclusive content. Thank you, Lewis, aka Brick, for letting me play today. Thank you more for supporting this artist community and just being an overall cool guy. Thanks, man. I hope everyone knows this next song. If you don't, feel free to reach out and I will send you a cool NFT for free. The video itself is a combination of some older things that maybe you've seen before. The underlying song is, of course, Caw Power. And I will thank the community for this song, since, as I've always stated from its creation, it belongs to you, the people. So thanks everyone for coming. Feel free to stick around after. There's definitely going to be some goodies, extras, maybe previews of what's to come. Bye-bye!
gonna have him do me up. Gonna get clean for my little buttercup. Justine, 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 Justine. Yeah, you just don't treat me right. You like to ball in the morning and stay out late at night. Justine, 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 Justine. You like to ball in the morning and stay out late at night.
Excuse me, who has that laser pointer?
I'm just gonna watch the race from the shore. Oh, good. I'll watch from here. Okay, gentlemen and ladies, gentlemen, start your engine. Okay, we're gonna go around the point there. We're gonna go around the lighthouse, so off to the right. Okay, on your mark. Get set. Go.
Oh, that's so funny. I'm just laughing my head off watching them. That's so good.
Hilarious.
That was good. That was good.
That's just kind of funny.
Who was that? Xander and Cumin. That's so good. I think Spicy was there.
Hey, Brick.
Hey, Sonny. This is so cool.
I just definitely got the. I pulled away on the exact time.
I mean, it's just.
Sonny, where's Xander?
In the real world, you guys would have all crashed and killed each other.
No,
That's so funny.
it's like going to be, it's like going to a championship to go, defend or
Exactly.
battle someone for the heavyweight championship, but the guy that has the heavyweight championship is not there.
I think Zan is still warming up, isn't he? Somewhere.
Well, he's not warming up a boat. All right, Sunny, you ready? Are we going left or right?
Is that spicy in the other one? Is that spicy in the other one?
Rick, you can count us down. I think Sunny left out, so you must count.
No, I'm here. So are we having another, are we racing again? Yeah.
Are you guys in for it? Are they, Jay?
Well,
Okay, start your engines. We're,
My engine's even backfire.
would you guys prefer to go off to the left this time? Try something new? It's harder to go to the left. Okay, let's go to the left. Okay. On your mark. Get set. Go!
go in different directions.
At least one person still went to the right.
Yeah. Such a good day today. It was, I love to see us. It was great to see SOS.
Oh, I know. I just followed him on Spotify.
Oh, did you? I must.
What I think is so cool.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Yep. Go on. Yep.
No, I just think it's so cool that he started. I found out about him through Ravencoin, and now I'm following him on Spotify. This is going to be the way music is going to go.
Yeah. Exactly.
We're going to hear about it first, and that's really cool.
Yeah.
See that it's starting with that. Beautiful.
I love his music.
I can totally relate to you wanting to call Inks, INX. That's what I want every time I see that.
Yeah, from that first day when she came into yours and Crypto Lisa's space, and I saw Inks, I thought NXS. It's just like NXS. And you know what? I think I told you. That actually reminded me. That reminded me in terms of to get the play the music again, because I hadn't played NXS for a while, and just reminding again it was such a good music, Aussie music. And I started playing again. It just reminded me of it.
It was awesome space.
Yeah. It's so so I know that thank you for all the retweeting and stuff and the support for the Kevin Lynch, the artwork on there. And oh my gosh, it's like bless their heart, but they just wanted such a high price, you know?
Yeah.
And so long story short, it just didn't meet the minimum reserve. So now, very quickly now, they want to try to mint on Ethereum. It'll be interesting. They just don't. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I still invited him here today.
Yeah.
But how cool would